Hello lovelies, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're watching this. So today we are going to be talking about everybody's favorite astrological excuse as to why their life is a mess, Mercury Retrograde. So stick around if that's something you're interested in. Hi. So today we're going to be talking about Mercury Retrograde, which is righteously kicking my ass right now. So please excuse me if this whole video is just a little bit because that's kind of what's happening. But I've been wanting to make this video for a very long time, and I'm gonna do it. You're not gonna stop me. So basically, we're going to start off by explaining what planetary retrograde is scientifically. So, planetary retrograde refers to a time during which the planet appears to be moving across the sky backwards. It's not actually moving across the sky backwards, but it looks that way because it's like with Mercury, Mercury is moving far faster than we are, and it's covering a far smaller. It has a smaller orbit. It has a smaller orbit around the sun. So, sorry, I just woke up and mess. So it's covering a far smaller orbit. So it's going faster and a smaller distance. And the best way that I've found to describe this is the analogy that I'm about to spout at you here. So imagine that I am walking around a track. I'm walking along, I'm walking in one of the outer lanes, and on the inner lane there's a person sprinting, right? So our sprinter, our runner, we are moving in the same direction. We're going in the same direction, but we're going at different speeds, and they are covering slightly less ground than I am. So as I'm walking along, the sprinter is sprinting along, and they round the corner before I reach the corner. I'm still moving forward at a slower pace than them. They round the corner around the track before I reach the curve, and as they start coming back towards the other curve, it appears to me, I'm still walking this way, that they're going backwards. They're not going backwards. They're still going forward in this circle, in this orbit. It appears that they're going backwards from my line of view because I am on the opposite side as them. They're going faster than me. They're gonna pass me and do this about 4 times because the orbit of the planet Mercury is about a quarter of what what the planet Earth experiences. That probably made very little sense. What I'm saying is that this happened like that. Mercury will pass Earth 4 times. It will orbit the sun 4 times before Earth orbits the sun once. It's a quick little booger. So let's go away from my clumsy scientific explanation. So okay, hold on. I'm a mess. I'm sorry. It's not early. It's about 10 in the morning, but hey. Mercury's in retrograde. Help me. Fuck. Okay. Dial back in. So now we're going to be talking about the lore and the history surrounding Mercury retrograde. Where did it come from? why did it become such a massive cultural phenomenon? So, according to mentalfloss.com, this is like, there's not a lot of information regarding the actual origins of Mercury retrograde that I could find. I didn't like fully in-depth like research, like, but so I'm sure I could find the information, but this was the best, like, what's it called, the best explanation that I could find on short notice. So according to mentalfloss.com, Mercury retrograde was being written about during the mid-18th century, so the mid-1700s. And it was written about in agricultural almanacs, which farmers would use to sync their planting schedules to the stars, with the patterns of the stars. So this was about the same time that the spiritualism craze of Victorian England was really kicking off, getting started. And it led many to believe that the stars affected Earth in many not usually pleasant ways. So, during the late 19th century, so like the late 1800s, publications such as the Astrologer's Magazine and the Science of the Stars began to connect Mercury retrograde with heavy rainfall, and some articles even began associating it, characterizing Mercury retrograde as an ill omen. But oddly enough, its association with outright disaster wasn't as prevalent then as it is today. See, what happened is, after the spiritualist craze and after it began to be associated with an ill omen, as that was kind of winding down, astrology really stuck around. So like, even though the things that most people recognize as like the big players in the spiritualist phase of Victorian England, even though those were dying off, like the seances and all the you know, the big spooky stuff that they were doing and that they were crazy about, even though that was kind of getting dialed back again, astrology was only picking up steam, because it was, you know, it was a simple, easy, like, divination tool, really, that was accessible to everyone. It kind of, I mean, it's fun. We're all, like, guilty of it. We all look at our horoscope in the newspaper. We all do that, and by the time, so it just really picked up steam. So by the time the 70s rolled around, it was crazy popular, and it really reached its peak during the 70s. It was, everybody knew their sun sign, everybody knew what was going on with the stars, and that was really when Mercury retrograde began to be solidified as this, like, horrible, disastrous thing in the minds of millions, especially in, like, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but, so this is when it really got its disastrous connotations, and, it's so odd, because, you know, usually we think that we're, like, less, what's it called, superstitious and, you know, spiritual than people hundreds of years ago would be, but, like, they really didn't care that much about Mercury retrograde. It was a thing, and they were like, "Oh, not a good thing." But, like, compared to nowadays, when, like, everybody blames any problem that they have during this time on Mercury retrograde, anything, really, like computer problems, flights getting delayed, I mean, things that happen all the time, and it's just silly. It really is, and I kind of love it. I kind of love that people just fully embrace this aspect of spirituality, and it kind of brings us all together, even if it's kind of silly and even if it doesn't make sense. I think it's fun. I think it's a cool thing that brings everybody together, that like we can blame our problems on Mercury retrograde. It's just a fun way to kind of soften the blow of some things like that, like something that could like ruin your day, like your computer getting shut down, you not like having a great conversation with someone that you like really like, someone like that you might want to date, like maybe you flub a conversation or something like that, or you don't do great in an interview, something like that, like your communication's just really off, something that could really hurt like your feelings and make your day kind of shitty. We can just laugh about it. We can say, oh, Mercury's in retrograde, better watch out, and we can move on. And I think that's healthy. I think it's funny, and I think it's cute, and I think it's healthy. So I'm gonna get down off my soapbox and we're gonna go back to why everyone's freaking out. So basically the idea behind the panic caused by Mercury going into retrograde comes from its name. So these planets are all named after Roman gods, and Mercury is the Roman god of thieves, commerce, trickery, communication, travel, finances, and luck. So it stands to reason that when Mercury goes into retrograde, when it's moving backwards, those things would be affected. Those things are ruled by the planet Mercury. So going backward in Mercury going into retrograde causes people to panic because people are too damn literal. Really and truly. I mean, it's just like, I mean, we've all been guilty of it. Like when you first pull the death card, when you first get that in like a tarot card pull, we're all guilty of freaking out a little bit. Like we're like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. This is telling me about my death. But like, it doesn't mean literal death. It doesn't mean Mercury going into retrograde doesn't mean bad things. A planetary retrograde it's a lot easier to think about when you, like, if you know anything about, like, tarot. So, Mercury going into retrograde isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just, like, it only means different things will happen. So it's not bad things will happen. It's just things are going to be a little off, you know? Things are going to be a little weird. It's like when you draw a reversed tarot card. I mean, it doesn't completely change the meaning. It doesn't completely change the key ideas behind the card. So the Eight of Wands. This is a card of travel. It's a card of opportunity. It's a card of going forward, charging forward, taking the lead, and really like going after what you want. And if you draw it reversed, I mean, that doesn't change. It's still about opportunity and it's still about taking charge and charging forward. But reversed, it's kind of like a warning sign. Reversed, it just means you might be going a little too fast. Slow down, take a breath, reevaluate, and then begin moving forward again. And honestly, that's a lot of what Mercury retrograde is. So, I mean, like, Mercury is the god of trickery. And you can only expect that a time that is so dominated by thoughts of Mercury and belief that Mercury has, like, power over us is going to be an especially active time for the god of trickery. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, as I said earlier. It's just, it's a time to expect the unexpected, and it can, you know, it can suck a little bit. It's a little hard to get through, but like, what it is, it's kind of a slap upside the head. So usually we're all just like trucking forward, just going. We're talking, we're getting things done. It's great. It's a lot like the Eight of Wands, where opportunities are presenting themselves. We're going. We're taking charge. We're taking the lead. We're just going forward. And I mean, Mercury is a lot like that. When it's in, when it's direct, we can do those things. We can go, and we can just like go after all our like dreams and our hopes and our like, yeah, our goals and stuff like that. But when it goes retrograde, when it goes into retrograde, it's kind of a sign that you need to stop, you need to take a breath, and you need to reevaluate a little bit. You need to make sure that this is the path that you want to be on. You need to make sure that this is the time you need to be doing it. And you need to make sure that you're going in the right direction. It's kind of like a break. It's a time where you're allowed to slow down a little bit. You kind of have to. It's a mandatory nap time. So shit falling apart because you're trying so hard to go against Mercury retrograde, that's gonna happen. If you try to push against it, if you try to fight it, shit's gonna fall apart. That's when it falls apart. You just have to kind of go with it. You have to let it happen, because it's gonna happen. It's happening right now. And you just have to take what you're given, man. You can't fight it, because that will only make things worse. So Mercury doesn't like for us to get complacent. And you know, necessity is the greatest driving force behind creation. And really and truly, this is a good time. It's mandatory nap time, but like, it's a good time to go back, and while you're relaxing on your current like charge into the future, now is a good time to like focus on some things that you might have forgotten about, some things that might have gotten left behind, never finished, stuff like that. Like, go back to those, look at them, see, do I want to maybe go back to this? Do I want to think about this anymore? Is this something that I can take and change and make something that will like serve me and that will be really cool? Is it something that, you know, I need? Is it something that I need to go back and finish? This is a good time to go back and do that. So like, I started planning this video back in February. It was right as, like, I planned it during Mercury retrograde, but it like was just going out and I didn't get the video like filmed in time. So, I mean, honestly, it's, when you start paying attention, you'll be surprised at how much like pops up. Because I, seriously, the other day, it went into retrograde, Sunday? July 7th. I don't remember when that was. I don't know what day it is. So it went into retrograde July 7th, and I just so happened to be like cleaning my room a little bit, and like I found my book that I like write down my video stuff in, and it was just like flipped open to this page, and I was like, cool, yep, that's all right, I guess so, bud, let's go. So basically what I'm saying, it's time to wrap this up, this rambly awful thing. Oh, I apologize, but like basically what I'm trying to say, cool off, take a break, take a breath, allow yourself time to just chill, you know, relax a little bit, like take care of yourself during this time. It can be such a stressful time, but it's not meant to be. I mean, Mercury's kind of cool in his jets. He's kind of changing things around because he wants you to pay attention. He's keeping us on our toes, and he wants you to pay attention to yourself and how you treat others and how you can communicate with others, how you connect with others. So, you know, just chill out a little bit, hang out with your friends and your family. Don't stress about your communication. Don't stress about things. I mean, this is a 3-week period, about 3 weeks. This is about a 3-week period during which you are fully free and pretty much forced to have, like, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. In a society that is so focused on taking care of others and doing what others expect of us, it is time to take care of yourself. So, Mercury, self-care, God, let's go. So yeah, that brings this ramble to an end. If you made it this far, God bless you. God's bless you. God above. Ugh. Good job. I love you and I'm proud of you. If you got anything from this, I'm very proud of you. You just spent time picking the nuggets out of this, like, weird thing. This thing. Whatever's going on up here. Okay, I think it's time for me to go. I love you guys. You're wonderful. Have a good retrograde. Take care of yourself. Go take a bubble bath. I love you. Mwah.